why do you think that? Like, what was the administration's purpose? Not the legal argument for whether they can do it or not.
Israel.
What? Yeah. Okay. So
it's literal Israel, and it's absurd that they'd argue. What they're doing when it comes to these students is they're saying they're a threat to our national security, and that's. I mean, it's.
Do you think she was a threat to the national security?
It's technically the truth, which is the best kind of the truth, in that, yes, opposing U.S. alliance with Israel is bad. Rallying in any meaningful way students to oppose Israel is bad for the U.S. foreign policy. But come on. You know what I mean? Like, a woman writing an op-ed that's not from here is nothing compared to the people from here writing the same op-eds. What they're doing is they're basically saying, I agree with you in that they're saying, do not do these things or we will deport you. We will find the thinnest of hairs of a reason to revoke your visa if you come out against us. I'm not completely in disagreement. So the reason why I say 60% when you ask me if I thought it was morally right is because obviously they don't need 6 guys swarming her in a pincer formation. One guy could have knocked on her door and said, ma'am, your visa's been revoked. I'm going to need you to come with me. We've got a black SUV you can sit in. We're going to deal with this in a rather kind of boring way. They didn't need to do that. The claim about a threat to our national security is grossly overestimated. The claim that these people have adhered to Hamas is grossly overestimated. That being said, it is still completely legal in that an individual who comes here on a conditional visa not violate the conditions of that visa.
Sure. It's legal. But dude, I'm asking you, like, do you think it's good for America that, like, college students who are here on a student visa because of political speech are being thrown into vans and having legal things be done? Sure, it's narrowly legal, but like, they're being
sent home.
She's being put in a prison, and then she's being like forcibly deported. Do you think that's good for America? Like, this is okay. So
marginally,
you think what do you think is good? Even marginally, like what's the minor small benefit to America?
Do not come to our country and rally against it and its interests. I apply this to any of these.
So what is the U.S. interest that her writing an op-ed?
The Suez Canal.
The Suez Canal?
Right. The United States. The reason why the U.S. is so, I love these Jews people that are like, Israel controls the foreign policy. Oh, shut up. The U.S. interest with Israel, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia has a lot to do with like the Red Sea and the Suez Canal. This is why Donald Trump is obsessed with Panama and Greenland. He wants to control the global trade routes. This is what America's largely done. That's why I say it's a gross mischaracterization to claim that an op-ed is a threat to national security, in that it is in the smallest of senses. Students coming here and telling us to oppose our support with Israel puts us at risk in terms of the sentiment of a younger generation as to whether or not we'll fund Israel and control the Suez Canal.
But I asked you if you thought it was good to deport her.
I said marginally. Right,
because we have national interests in the Suez Canal, and she wrote an op-ed.
That's the U.S.'s interest.
Okay, so why do you think it was good to deport her?
Asserting U.S. sovereignty. Do not come to our country and tell us what to do. You've got a condition of your visa. You're a guest in this country.
Okay.
Adhere to the agreements we have.
So you think that America should be a country where, if you come here on a student visa, you're paying into our, university system. You're coming here for the reasons that, completely legally, we've invited you to come, right? Yes. This is why America is the country it is, partially because people like this have come for decades. If you express a political opinion that is like mildly at odds with a U.S. interest in another country of a canal, that you should be deported. You think America should be the kind of country where if somebody comes here, they write an op-ed that says literally anything about U.S. foreign policy, they should be deported. So going forward, literally everyone in the world should know, if you are on foot on U.S. soil, you should not say anything in public about U.S. national priorities of any kind, or else you could be deported. Do you think it's good to have a country where that's the understanding?
All right. So you're saying that...
This is what I'm trying to drill down to.
The individuals who come to this country and apply for student visas have made that agreement already. So while I would argue the deportation of Romesa is the thinnest of hairs. Mahmoud Khalil makes more sense. I mean, he organized and helped lead protests that resulted in damage, occupations of buildings, several staff at the Columbia.
Let's stay on Rumesa because then we don't have to split hairs.
Right. The issue is do not come to our country and tell us what to do. That's it. If you're here as a guest of this nation, you do not start rallying its people in opposition to the will of the voters and what the government is doing.
I mean, I really thought the point of America was, freedom of speech was like a main value here. That I think that's why people come here. It's why I like living here, because I always felt that, hey, I can express an opinion, especially about U.S. foreign policy, and not have anything happen to me. So that's a right that only citizens have. And you think America should be a country where, if you are not literally an American citizen, if you express any opinion about U.S. foreign policy, I mean, and we both agree the opinion she expressed was pretty mild. It wasn't like a very inflammatory opinion, right? It was like, it's pretty mainstream political opinion to have. It conflicts with U.S. interests about the Suez Canal. I still don't really understand that point, but let's just say that it does.
It does.
That should be grounds for being forcibly removed from the country. And like, whether or not it's legally the case that we could do that, do you think it's good? You think it's good to have a country where things like that happen? You think a thriving country is one where people come into the country, they write an op-ed for the paper of the organization of which they're a member. She's paying tuition to go to this school, and she's working for the student newspaper or whatever. She's writing an op-ed. She's probably not employed there, but she's writing for the student newspaper, and that is grounds to be deported. And
it always was. I mean, so my attitude.
You think that's the kind of country America is?
Always has been. That's why
I guess that's where we fundamentally disagree.
But hold on, the Immigration and Naturalization Act has multiple provisions that outright say this is the case, and so that's why I say it's marginally good, because the issue is the U.S. asserting its sovereignty and saying, as a guest in this nation, we ask you not do certain things.
We ask you don't write we ask you don't write mildly worded op-eds about U.S. foreign policy vis-a-vis a different country's war.
Let's not load it. Let's say, do not speak out against our foreign policy.
So, okay, great. So America is a country where, if you, in your view, if you are a foreign national, you are here on a student visa, you've been invited to the country,
asked me this like 4 times.
You should not
every time.
Okay. I just want to. It's fair. To me, Tim, it's a very baffling position.
Listen, you're arguing that I should call for illegal activities.
Let me
phrase it this way.
Sure.
My attitude is, Congress has passed a law. It was passed in the House and the Senate, signed by the president and upheld by the courts. This law states it is the purview of the Secretary of State to make the decisions as to whether or not these visas can stand for a variety of reasons. I say it is marginally good. Her opinion was mild, and I don't think it. I think it's silly to claim that she's adhering to Hamas because an anti-Israel position. My point is, for the government to assert its authority under the law as codified by Congress, the president, and the courts is marginally good. Marginally is, I said 60% maybe. If I was president, I wouldn't do it. But the idea that our country asserts its authority to say, you are guests in this country and we will make the determination whether you can stay or not, is a normal process. And to argue that the government should not assert its authority when it feels it should, I think is silly.
I'm still looking.
There's a world we want to live in, and then I'll put it this way. I think people have a right to keep and bear nuclear weapons. The founding fathers were clear in their intent on the right to bear arms, which included privateers with grape shot. Now we've changed that and said only large corporations that the government approves of can have nuclear weapons. Agreed. Nobody should have nuclear weapons. My point is that if you want to change the law, you have to do it through the constitutional process, and that adhering to that is typically a good thing.
I don't know how we got on nuclear weapons.
It's a point about process of law.
Yeah,
and saying the government has a right to do something. So if they choose to do it, okay. If you have a problem with it, then Congress should repeal those, specifically amend the INA to remove those provisions. It is completely legal under the United States at the will of the American people that this happen. You don't like that it's happening now, but this was the will of the voters and Congress, and it's been law for like 50 years.
Dude, just because something is legal doesn't mean it's right.
Correct.
Right?
We should change it then. So my point is, upholding the law is marginally good. Sometimes the law is bad, and that's why it's not always good. in this regard.
So wait, you're saying simply the fact that Marco Rubio exercised his legal authority to do something was good. It's like he had the legal authority to do it. He could have enforced this law as he saw it on anybody. He could have enforced it on a comedian, right? Who's in town and goes on stage and says, "Hey, you know what? I disagree with this or that." Or, "Hey, I just did shows in
Canada,
I just did what?
You're not from Canada.
No, but I just did shows in the UK and Amsterdam, and I made fun of UK politics, made fun of American politics.
You wouldn't dare make fun of Islam, though. Go to the UK and mock Islam. Do it. Thanks for watching this clip from the Culture War podcast. We're live every Friday, 10 a.m. to noon, so subscribe and come hang out.